Good morning all, hope you're doing well. As part of our sequence of videos that we're talking about trading, we're doing an A to Z. It's taken a little while, to be honest with you. It should have been complete before January, but I had been quite tired last week, and so that's the reason for not that many videos last week. And so we are on P, and the last video was an O, and that was about the order book. And that was all sentiment. This is all about technical, and we're going to talk about the Zoop indicator. So the best pitchfork indicator I know of is the Zoop indicator. It does come at a bit of a cost. It is for MetaTrader 4 and for MetaTrader 5. It doesn't work on TradingView or any other terminals for MetaTrader, and I thoroughly recommend it. It's very amazing, and what it does not just pitchforks, but it does harmonics, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Basically, it's an all-in-one technical indicator suite based on zigzag algorithms. I'll talk about the zigzag algos in this video because it's important that you understand the difference between the static zigzag and a dynamic zigzag, right? And so it might be new to you, so I'll help you understand that. So let's look at some chart. So this is a zigzag, and you can see how the zigzags have created a thing called a harmonic, and based on the structure of where we completed, it has a name essentially. So if we had fallen more, it would have to be a Gartley. If we break that, if we continue to fall, then we would have been made a thing called a crab. But the naming conventions we don't have to worry about so much. But essentially, what happens when zigzags make a structure like this, then they create a harmonic. So this is why we want to be looking at zigzags. Zigzags are great. It was awesome on Friday because I said about the dollar yen, and it made a bearish harmonic, and we did fall a lot. Now the thing is, on the chart you can see the harmonic based on the zigzags, and we can also see a thing called the pitchfork, which hopefully is fairly clear because it uses the place of origin, which is called the anchor, and then it has the high and the low, and then it creates a channel essentially, and we can see we've got an ascending channel, which in itself is quite bullish. Okay, and now what's these dashed lines are your shift channels, so we can insert line and trend line, and then we know that's set in stone. So this is a static line. Okay, this will never change for the rest of history. That's made that point in time, and it will never change. And so therefore, because we know that's set in time, we know that this is going to be decent resistance or support. Okay, so is that a coincidence? You know, maybe it's a coincidence. You know, it could just be a coincidence, couldn't it? But it's a decent support, and not only was it decent support, but it gave us the level, the precise level to the pip of that support. Do note that we have taken out a stop loss cluster. Today's Patreon video did cover it. We not only took out the SLC and EU, but we did it for AU and GU, and we probably did it for NU, but I didn't have time in that particular video to look at the Kiwi. But we've taken out liquidity on this move. Okay, so this is the reason for this retracement. Good support. Hopefully you understand why. It's the hypothetical resistance based on the static known line that's cemented in time. It then creates a resistance, which is absolutely amazing and very, very powerful. And this in itself pays for the Zoop product. So what we're currently seeing is that this pink line here, it's a dynamic zigzag. This is a static one. You know, we set in time. This is a dynamic one. So let me tell you about the difference. Right, so this is a static. This is a dynamic. Now the reason for this, why it's called dynamic, is because it's not set in stone. It hasn't completed yet, and it will only complete if we break the high or we break the low. Okay, so this is constantly in flux, and this is why this is dynamic. And this is open to, it's subject to change. This is set in stone, it's set in time, it won't move. This will move a lot, a hell of a lot, until we break above or below. And that's a zigzag algorithm, okay? So this, we know we can use 100% on here, 0 on here. This is in flux, and this is why the USD, you know, we're going to have to break that high, or we're going to have to break this low again in order to create a new zigzag. So 107.13 is obviously very key. If we do, then we'll create a new zigzag, and this is why this is dynamic. We haven't completed yet, and we're still fluctuating on price. Okay, whereas this is set in stone. And also the zigzag can complete over time. It doesn't necessarily have to break the high or low, but it will inevitably run out of steam, and then it'll create a new zigzag. Okay, and if you want to look zigzag definition, trading strategy, we can look at something like that, or definition, you know, just look at some of these links. It's quite straightforward, it's not too complex, but essentially this is not yet set in stone, and it's telling us it is subject to change. Okay, and that's that logic. So come here, templates, no, templates, indicator list, Zoop. Now when you install the Zoop indicator, you'll get your lots of options, and it can be very overwhelming at first. It was for me, and I'm used to software because my background is in software testing. Now I found that if we did 11, it gives us the harmonic studies. I'll be honest, I never clicked any other option here. I've just gone to search patterns because I'm happy with the setup that we have, and it's just search patterns give us the harmonics, okay, which is fantastic. So Zoop, and you see how it's broken down. These are your main options. Fib settings, and so the dynamic and the static, you can have those on or off. You can toggle those on and off if you want. More settings, pivot point with bars. I'll be honest with you, I never touched those. Oh, Pesavento patterns. These are the harmonics that you see in the top left. Don't mess around with those. I never have before. And that's a small zigzag settings. Now the thing is, keep coming down. This is what we're interested in, is the pitchfork. So what I have, I've got the dynamic off, and I've got the static, which is your blue pitchfork, and the static shift lines, and that's that. So the master pitchfork is the static one, and just keep those settings. So this will need to be 0. You don't want a dynamic pitchfork because you don't want to see the pitchfork fluctuate. You want to see it set in stone, okay? And then the static pitchfork that you've selected needs to have the static shift lines, and the shift lines are those, and that's really powerful. Do note, like I say, we're taking out stop loss cluster. I recommend this very thoroughly, the Zoop indicator, but you probably would want to use it with sentiment as well, because you know, you sort of want to be looking at the big picture and looking at more powerful tools, because the SLC and the order books very, very powerful. And this was a stop loss cluster hunt, and it's an SLC probe. And what happened is that we went up, took the stops, and this is why this has fallen. So you could probably argue, okay, we're falling because of the resistance, but really I think it was a liquidity probe, and that's why the majority of the moves that we see in the forex market are liquidity probes. All right, so this is why you want to be looking at sentiment, but for a technical indicator, this is the best one that I know of that you can get from MetaTrader 4, and I'll be happy to take questions on it. I'm not exactly an expert, but I'm quite I've used it quite a lot. I've got quite a lot of experience, but I'm by no means an expert, especially on the settings below. You can do a lot of stuff. So there's your pitchfork settings, which I managed to get this nice template. It works very well. It's very powerful. And then you can also do loads of things. Mic med channels, the Fibbo fans, the Fibbo expansion, Thurston levels, the Fibbo arc, logarithmic spirals, and channels, pivots, Fibbo time, which I've looked at before. At some point, I probably will look at some of these settings, but I'll be honest with you, I just quite like the pitchfork and harmonics. So this is what we're doing right now. I want to show you something actually before I wrap up the video. I want to show you the dollar yen, and on the weekly, it's absolutely nuts. Okay, so you probably want to be very careful if you're trading the dollar yen. And the reason for this 13210 is of note. We zoom out. Okay, so we're looking at a 12-year study. All right, can you see what's happened? Do you know? You can see why 13210 is important, right? So that's a multi-year support right now. So be very, very careful with the dollar yen. Below 13210, then we can fall. Okay, from a technical perspective, the sentiment obviously is going to be slightly different. It might not actually indicate a sell, but from a technical level, 13210 is of note. And see, we've broken the pitchfork as well, and we've got a bearish ABCD. A, B, C, D. So we're going to be bearish as long as we're below 152.12. Quite bearish if we break 132.10. Be careful with the dollar yen. I'm around if you need me. And tomorrow's video is going to be about Q. That's going to be easy because I can just talk about the spreadsheet and the QuasiDB spreadsheet and our website and the blog. And so that's what we can do. And have a look at it. You can trial it for $30. Pretty amazing. And if you want, I can give you my template and I won't mind at all. And that's me activating it 5 times. That isn't the total of the activations. That's just me alone, you know. So that's that. And yeah, so just be careful. And note dollar yen could be awful if we go below 132.10. And we've got the CPI and we've got Powell tomorrow as well. I think we might pump on the dollar just because it would be annoying, right? And we have seen quite a lot of weakness in the dollar, so it makes sense to recoup some losses. Be careful, and I'll speak to you guys soon. And tomorrow's video, if I get time tomorrow, will be on Q, and that'll be about QuasiDB, the website, blog, and the spreadsheet.